All right, lineup is set. Final heat race of the night. Billy Osborne and Randy Phillips going to lead them down. Shelby Kirk, George Riley Jr., row 2, and Ryan Nelson grids 5th in the 06. Green flag in the air. Pure Stock heat race number 2 underway. Osborne leads them down into turns 1 and 2 down the back chute. Randy Phillips going to try to stick with them as they head down the back straight. Battle for the 3rd spot between Kirk and the 71 and the 34, George Riley Jr. George Riley Jr., Shelby Kirk make a little bit of contact. Kirk down through the grass. Riley hangs onto it in car 34. Randy Phillips putting the pressure to Billy Osborne. 08X up on the top of the racetrack. Caution flag's going to fly. Caden Roberts in trouble in car number 08X. Shelby Kirk doing some agricultural work again in car 71. She's back on the racetrack. Did he hit the wall? Caden Roberts with some trouble in his car. Looked like he did get a little piece of the wall on the back end of that car. Race fans, once again, if you are up out of your seats, please make sure you have your masks on. We do have state officials watching the Speedway, so please make sure if you're up out of your seats, you do have your masks on. All right, lineup is set. Racetrack is clear. 1 to go at the line. 1 in the record books. 9 remain. Billy Osborne led the 1 lap. Randy Phillips was pressuring him. Keep an eye on George Riley Jr. trying to go back-to-back here tonight after his first career win with us here at the Star Speedway in car 34. He sits 3rd. Shelby Kirk is 4th. And Ryan Nelson still in that 5th spot in car number 06. Green flag back in the air. Pure Stock heat race number 2 back underway. Phillips shoving Osborne down into turns 1 and 2. Billy Osborne leads the way down the back chute. Randy Phillips hot glued to his back bumper. George Riley Jr. in the 3rd spot. Look at Ryan Nelson up to 4th now. Ryan Nelson able to get around the 71 of Shelby Kirk as Osborne continues to lead the way in car number 55. Randy Phillips has a feature win to his credit. He won on Star Classic Friday night in the 19 car. George Riley Jr., the most recent Pure Stock winner, right there in the 3rd spot. Randy Phillips putting the pressure to Osborne, but Phillips has to be careful because George Riley Jr. now goes to the bottom side of Phillips for the 2nd spot. Riley Jr. and Phillips make a little bit of contact. Phillips able to hang on to it, but Riley Jr. has the preferred bottom lane for the moment. Phillips motors back on the outside groove. They're still side by side for that 2nd spot, leaning on each other out of turns 3 and 4. Shelby Kirk sideways in the 71 car, hangs onto it. Up front, Billy Osborne back in command, leading the way, getting the halfway home signal from his nephew, Rampage Gage Osborne, on the flag stand. Halfway home at the line, Randy Phillips gives the 34 George Riley Jr. a shot that time. Shelby Kirk all over the racetrack in car number 71, almost tore down the front stretch fence that time in car 71. Up front, Billy Osborne, fresh off his retirement in car 55, leading the way once again here at the Star Speedway, a former mini stock champion as well as 350 super modified driver. His most recent win here at the Star Speedway was behind the wheel of a 350 Super Modified. He had to show Gage Osborne how to get it done in this Pure Stock class, and he's leading the way here in heat race number 2. 3 laps to go at the line this time by. Osborne leads the way. George Riley Jr. 2nd, Randy Phillips 3rd, 4th is Nelson, and 5th is Shelby Kirk in car number 71. Popsicle sticks in the air this time by, for your leader, Plasta, New Hampshire's Wild, Billy Osborne. George Riley Jr. trying to reel him in and put some distance between himself and that 19 of Randy Phillips. Lap traffic up ahead of your leader. It's Churchill. We'll see if Osborne catches him or not. White flag in the air this time by. Final trip around for the 55 of Billy Osborne. Riley closing the gap a little bit, but he's running out of time in car 34 as they head down to the turns 1 and 2. Got the pole shot and never looked back. Down the back chute for the final time by the lap car. Churchill with no issues. Checkered flag in the air this time by. Heat race number 2. Gonna go to Billy Osborne in car number 55. Second to George Riley. Third to Randy Phillips. Fourth to Nelson, and fifth to Shelby Kirk in car number 71.